We've got dirt. Guys, the FreshBaked construction update was born of dirt, and dirt we have again today with the recent demolition of the Gag Factory in ToonTown. We've got recent footage from that site, plus updates on reopened dining locations, locations that are still not open, and even an update on an attraction that is reopening that surprised the heck out of yours truly. All that is coming up next and more on FreshBaked. Hello again, everybody, and welcome back to FreshBaked. I'm your host, David, and that used to be ToonTown. What you're looking at here in the frame is the shell of the Gag Factory and the Five and Dime, and it looks like they're trying to preserve this part of the building. The foundation and maybe those primary supports, all the big parts. Actually, you can't really say this is the Five and Dime, by the way, because I think that building has been completely removed, if I'm looking at this correctly. Not even a shell. That shell that you're looking at is Gag Factory proper, if I'm not mistaken. But here in the right of frame, this is fun, is the entrance to the Gag Factory, which they also appear to be possibly preserving. So if we believe our eyes to this point, it could still be that the entrance to Runaway Railway will be through that original Gag Factory's entrance, and then all the themed buildings around it will remain as is. Enter here, and then this area could be something of a pre-show, like we've seen in the concept art, and then this area behind the white tarps, that could possibly be the connection between ToonTown proper and then the big old Runaway Railway show building across the street. And then for those interested, you can see that they did preserve the powerhouse and all the other buildings that have those interactive elements. You know, open the door and you get electrocuted, the TNT situation over there where they set off the fireworks. All that stuff looks like it's gonna hang in there. That's it. That's all we got for construction update this week, because there's nothing else being constructed. There's not even any minor projects going on that I'm aware of. So let's see what's going on with operations, which also not a lot of changes since the last time we spoke. The one thing that I did notice is that it appears that Disney has gotten more comfortable with seating around the park, particularly in New Orleans Square, where we once saw a bunch of the sit-down tables and tabletops in the walking areas, because they didn't have very much seating at French Market. Most of those are gone now, with Disney allowing more seating in the normal areas around French Market and Cafe Orleans. They also took out nearly all those tables and chairs that were out in front of the Jolly Holiday. One of the reasons they've been able to do this is because they've been able to spread out the crowds for dining. With the reopening of Harbor Galley, Hungry Bear, Rancho del Zocalo, and Coke Corner. Every attraction, every restaurant that reopens makes everything in the park a little bit easier to do, a little bit more easy to navigate, a little more comfortable. Now, among those sites that are not yet open are Carnation Cafe and Boardwalk Pizza and Pasta, two sites that I have been harping on for weeks, trying to figure out what is going on, why they're not open, why is it that they can open up everything else but those two. A friend of the show has suggested that the reason that Carnation Cafe has not opened yet is because of social distancing, or at least why they couldn't open before. The kitchen, I'm assuming, if the issue is social distancing, then I'm assuming, unlike all the other locations that have the same social distancing requirements, I'm assuming Carnation Cafe is too small. The kitchen is, that is. So that makes sense. It does seem like a small site. So it's possible that's the reason why they're. Meanwhile, at Boardwalk Pizza and Pasta, it was suggested to me that the reason why they hadn't opened yet is because they were using that for training purposes for cast members. Now, that makes sense, except that to my thinking, it feels like you use a spot for training because a place is not open. You don't close a place so that you can train people. You train people wherever there's open areas, wherever there's an open site to do that. They've been training, I think, at the Hyperion Theater as well. And I think they were doing orientation and that kind of thing at Fantasyland Theater. These are sites that weren't open or closed first, and then they trained there. So I'm not sure how much I agree with the Boardwalk Pizza and Pasta. Still a little confused about that site. And let me add here, thanks to the street team for that information. We have folks, if you're in the park and you see something that you want to report or that you think that we should know about, something that caught your eye and you think we or our fans might want to see it, send us a video, send us a photo, take a photo, send it to me at david@freshbakedisney.com, or you can DM me on Twitter at FreshBakedDisney, that's fresh with no E. So getting back to Boardwalk Pizza and Pasta and Carnation Cafe, I have no idea still. We have no idea when those locations might reopen. Even if we have an idea of why they might not have been open, we still don't know when they will open. In Carnation, people are, what are we supposed to do? They did put back the chairs. I will say this, the Carnation Cafe, they did put back the chairs and tables. That place was empty. They had taken everything out of there at one point, but now that they put the tables and chairs back, but still no clue on a reopening date, still no idea when we're gonna be able to get some fried pickles again. By the way, speaking of things that are not yet reopened, we have that small shop back in New Orleans Square, Baton Rouge. A while back, we had reported that they had put some signage up in the windows. That place has been closed since the reopening. They had put some signage up in those windows that suggested like it might be a dining location. It's not. No beignets, no food, no Tiana, nothing of the sort. It's going to be another gift shop at some point. They just not what it was. They decided to shut down what they were doing in that location. They haven't decided yet what that's going to be. And you know what? It's storage now. It's a place to put stuff. And it could also be a place to trade cast members. This is what I'm talking about. So I don't know what the timeline is. I don't think it's urgent. I don't expect to see anything in Baton Rouge for a little while. You want to see something really crazy? I know, right? That's so shocking to me. I was positive that we would never see Finding Nemo run again, ever, that it was closed for good. My feeling was that the Nemo subs were a dead attraction walking before COVID, before all this happened. Mix in, whatever's happening now today with well, we're not social distancing anymore, but whatever the environment, the way people feel about sitting in confined spaces, really close together indoors like that. That's still not a desirable situation for a lot of people who are concerned or a little bit iffy about things like that. So my feeling was, why put any money into an attraction, and money it does need, why put any money into it, into an attraction that has lousy guest capacity and lousy guest satisfaction? Not to mention the super high maintenance costs. It's one of the most expensive rides to maintain in the park. And I guess the answer to that question is, it is beautiful. It is a sight to behold. The scene that it creates with the Nemo Lagoon and the Matterhorn and the monorail and all that surrounding area. Tomorrowland isn't the same without the Nemo subs and the Nemo Lagoon. So that's what it's got going for it. So the Nemo subs will be back before the end of the year. And the only question that remains, and this is something we could talk about for a long time, but the question remains is why? Why did they decide to go ahead and reopen this? Why did they decide to put in the maintenance money, the refurb money to get it back open again? I'm not sure how much they're planning to do, but they are doing something. So the only thing that I can infer in the very brief time that I'm going to talk about this is that the Tomorrowland refurb is dead for a couple of years more at least. Because they're not going to put any money in the Nemo if they're planning on doing a refurb for Tomorrowland next year or even the year after that. I'm talking about starting. I'm not talking about finishing. I'm talking about starting. So it's going to be a few years before they even put a hammer to concrete or whatever. It'll be a few years before that even begins. And with that, we're going to close with some updates on nighttime entertainment. Fantasmic. It's going to be a while still for Fantasmic. From what I'm hearing, to get that thing show ready, they've just started. And it's going to take a few months to get Fantasmic show ready. So we're looking at, or I'm hearing, after the new year. I'm not sure how far after the new year, but it's gonna be after the new year before we get into Fantasmic. Same is true for the World of Color. I wasn't sure if that was gonna happen or not. This year there was talk maybe that it might be back for Oogie Boogie, but now it sounds like it is in fact going to be, and not until after the new year. It's actually an extensive refurb that it's going through. A rumor I've heard is that they are probably going to have to drain the lagoon, drain the bay, the Pixar Paradise Bay. They have to drain all that water. And do some extensive refurb on everything. As for fireworks, I would say plan on saying Mixed Magic for a while. I don't know anything concrete on this, but I say this only because I haven't heard anything, not a single whisper about Forever or Remember or anything else. So I'm hearing, so far all we know is Mixed Magic, and that's what I'm expecting. There is still hope, though, I think, for a special Christmas type show. I don't know if it's going to be projections with fireworks mixed in or just fireworks or whatever, but one thing I can say is that Mickey's Mixed Magic it doesn't strike the right tone for the holiday, for the Christmas season. It just seems it's too, I don't know, it's too something else. It's too extra for the holidays. The holidays are very, well, anyway, I don't expect to see Mixed Magic for Christmas. Not a guarantee, but I don't know what that means, what we're going to get for Christmas. Maybe it does mean we get something like Remember. But I'll keep my ears to the ground and my eyes open for any info on that as it happens. And that's it. That's our construction update for this week. A little light, but hey, that's good. That means there's not a lot of ongoing stuff out there. Disneyland is operating mostly at full capacity, full operational. We'll know it's fully operational when we get all that fireworks and parades and stuff back. By the way, I should mention that the cavalcade, we talked about this on Twitter the other day, the cavalcade has started 4 times daily, I think it was. They're doing a cavalcade. They're going to mix in like a float from Soundsational. They're going to mix in some Frozen stuff. I think it's going to be Mickey and his friends, and then also a separate, sometimes. And then at other times it's going to be Frozen. Frozen and other Frozen-related things. And then maybe they're just kind of chopping up. They're chopping up some of the parade features. I don't know. But that started yesterday, actually. So if you're going to the parks now, you can catch a cavalcade. I think it's like every couple hours during the day. And that's it, guys. Follow us on Instagram at _FreshBaked, on Twitter at FreshBaked, that's fresh with no E, and on TikTok at FreshBakedDisney.com. We love you guys very, very much. Please stay safe out there. Be kind to one another. FreshBaked.